might be funny. I might be all over the place tonight. No Jack, just us.
Well, he's working on a custom house, and he's
is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's wiring a custom house, and he's got another house that he's turning and burning.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. When's he gonna break down and buy our clubhouse coffee shop?
Yeah, you heard about the Lindemans building.
Yes. Who's moving into there?
So there's a place on, what's it called? God, I can't remember what it is. But it was an old gas station on Francis and Wall in that area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They have a good beer selection. I don't know about wine, but they have like tacos, they have burgers, they have everything. And I don't know if they're going to do the same thing there or not. So,
whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I did see the sign when I came by, and it looked like it had a whole bunch of, food, wine, spirits, shit like that. So now, if the beer building or just stay, that'll be the question.
They're gutting
bricks
it.
on that, or just bricks on it look like they're on their way out. Oh.
Oh, nice crackle.
That's how I feel right now. So before I even begin the show, I'm going to say to the listener that I am not dying. I'm just having an allergic reaction, and I don't know what to, because I've been allergic to bees my entire life. Not my entire life, but since they swarmed me when I was like 8, and so I've always been on the lookout for them, And then about a year ago, no, maybe even more this year, it's just I've developed a seasonal allergy of some sort, or I'm allergic to something in the house, or a detergent that we use in our laundry or something, because I get these sneezes and they're itchy and the watery eyes, and I feel like my head's going to roll off my fucking shoulders, and I hate it. And still no pre-roll audio, so guess what? Before we begin the episode of the Packfiller, just a friendly reminder that we are live every Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific, or 1800 hours for you military folk, on the Podbean and the YouTubes. You can call to the show directly through the free Podbean app, so be sure to download that bad boy today. Big pre-show thank you to the one and only Giant Bicycles for their continued support of the podcast. Be sure and check out the availability of your local Giant dealer today. Ride Life, Ride Giant. Should I mention the strange photo I took yesterday?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I saw a random truck at a grocery store full of Giant bicycle boxes, and they had bikes in them.
It has to be, I'm sure, an employee or something from Bike Hub.
Oh, one of them looked like it was about to fall out. But anyway, also big thanks to Gooder Sunglasses, the home for glasses that get the joke, look great, fit perfectly, and suit just about any style or activity you are attempting. Get over to Gooder.com today and check out the styles you need, all at a price you can afford. Let's do this.
Did you say 1600 or 1800? For the time, military time.
What?
The military time?
Yeah.
Did you say 1600 or 1800?
I said 1800. Was I right?
Yeah, 1800.
You said that off, Mike.
16, yeah.
You're going to call me out. That's so nice of you to say, Pat, you fucked up.
Yeah,
but you didn't say it on Mike.
Yeah.
I said 1800. I hope I said 1800.
Yeah, you probably did.
All right. The Giro...
Good listener.
The Giro ends, the Dauphiné starts. The Dauphiné ends, Unbound Gravel, and the Tour de Suisse starts. Is it just me, or is this regular bike racing schedule kind of fucking exhausting? With a year off, we need to ease into this, but instead we're jumping in off the high dive into a cold-ass pool of busy. This is the Packfiller. We, as usual, have a lot to digest and not enough time to get it all in. So helping me digest are the members of the Packfiller. If they were meals... See the digest thing I'm going for here.
Yeah.
They'd be number one, a big old homemade burger with a side of mac and cheese, but surprisingly, you don't ever feel bloaty or full, Mr. Jackson Bulger. Was that good?
I love that. That's exactly what I eat all the time anyway, so thank you very much.
Second, a plate of frites, some form of wrapped meat you can't pronounce, and a 10% alcohol double to wash it all down, Mr. Paul Maine.
Cheers, I got one.
He does. I'm wiping my nose because I have said at the onset of the show I'm having an allergic reaction. He's not here, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have no idea how it was made, but for some reason it leaves you with a smile, Mr. Jack Broadhead. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Because I know what he thinks. I just constantly insult him. He's not here, so he's a fuckhead. Me, I'm just a steak and a baked potato because that's how I like it. I don't know if I'm simple or if I just wanted to just kind of keep it at that. Hey, you guys, there have been bike races in multiple forms and multiple platforms. I'm going to rant on that one later this weekend, as well as an actual bike race somewhat locally. We had the Tour Walla Walla just down the road a little bit here recently. It's almost as if things are returning to normality. So, gentlemen, did anybody have a breakout ride week? Jackson, we'll let you go first. How was your bicycle ride week?
My bicycle ride week was great. It was actually. I thought last week, I went out for a 60-mile ride, which I'd never done before. It was 3,000 feet of climbing, and I'm starting to figure out that that every ride I find is if you don't hit the 3,000 mark, then you just didn't do it right. So
wow.
Yeah, getting a lot of climbing in, trying to get the longer rides in before we head off to California.
Shit, 3,000 every ride?
Yeah, if not every ride, but pretty much, yeah. If you go over 20 miles, then you're going to hit 3,000 somehow.
Whoa. Jesus, okay. Now I'm worried.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, how was your ride week?
Well, we talked about doing that spirited ride. Bike Fit Sam texted both of us, and I had a late inspection that there was no way I was going to make it. So
that was last Thursday, and it was still upper 80s.
Yep, it would have been a great time to go out.
Yeah.
Hopefully this Thursday, I'll try and hit it.
Really?
Yep.
Still?
I need some speed work. I need to get my butt kicked. But then Saturday, I can't remember. There was a lot of crap going on. It was pretty windy Saturday.
Yeah, it was really windy.
Yeah. I just did like a 24-mile loop, down to Hangman and stuff. And then yesterday I did a 41-mile ride with 3,800 feet of climbing.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wow.
Yep.
I didn't ride yesterday. I had to go to a high school graduation for the other job, and so I did that. And excuse me, I'm going to be making a lot of noises off mic tonight. I did get out Wednesday for the mountain bike race, which again was super hot. It was in the 90s on that one, and it was full of rock gardens. So I just want to keep thanking the race organizers for adding in rock gardens just to fuck with us guys with our hardtail bikes who aren't really good at the technical stuff anyway. But the more I think about it and the more I'm doing these things, first of all, the more I'm enjoying it. It's a 2-lap race. In my second lap, I was actually, as I stated in my Strava, that I was okay with it because it was a slower lap. The second lap was slower because I had to spend a lot of time actually waiting to find the moment to pass kids on bikes and their parents, which I loved. I gotta get it right down here. Excuse the pause.
Yeah, it was dripping off the end of your nose.
It was dripping off the end of my nose.
Yeah,
sorry about that. I noticed you were looking up. And the camera was on me at that very right time, so everybody look at that one. I was parents and their kids, and I, you know what, that, I'm not going to complain about that, because that was really cool to see so many people out there doing it. And I remember way back when, myself and somebody else on this podcast were the first ones to do that for that series, and we had to ask special permission to do all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and then throughout the race itself, the more I thought about it, the more I was going, man, my lower back's hurting, my shoulders are hurting. Wait, this is technically a good thing, because in July we know my lower back is going to hurt. We know my shoulders are going to hurt, but maybe they'll hurt a little bit less because I'm doing this shit to myself now. So I don't like the rock gardens, but I guess I should probably be thankful for them, because I'm going to be bouncing over some serious shit here in about 4 weeks. So
did you get it flat?
No.
Oh, good.
I did not. The reason why I've been dealing with so much sealant lately is because I was getting Jackson's wheels dialed in, and as I said on the show, I think I said on the show I was going to borrow your wheels, your full size wheels. And then I found out the rotors are the wrong size, so the rotors don't fit. And so I got a set of wheels coming, and I ordered rotors for them under the rotor size that I measured for that wheel I was trying to switch out. And then I realized my bike has different rotors. The front one and the back one are different sized. So I now have 3 fucking brake rotors, 2 that would fit the rear size, and 1 for the front. I know what the listener's thinking. Why didn't you measure both rotors, you dumbass? Because I'm probably a noob at this, and I didn't know that you could have a bike with a 140 in the rear and a 160 in the fucking front.
Yeah.
So I'm out like $70.
It never was a problem with rim brakes. I'm just saying.
I agree. I could not agree more right now.
I wouldn't run rim brakes on a gravel bike. That's for sure.
No.
God,
No.
it's and the wheels aren't even here yet. And I've bought tires, I bought the rotors, all this kind of stuff. And I found out that the rotors on my other wheels are 6-bolt, and the rotors on the new wheels are center lock. Yeah, and so it's. Why does everything cost so goddamn much? This sport is too expensive. It's stupid. And I'm looking at Jackson with his nice shiny rotors hanging over his shoulder. They both look the same size.
Yeah, they are 160s.
They're 140 and 160.
Really? On that?
I can guarantee that, yeah.
And
160
that's on
in
your
the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they do the bigger rotor because there's more
Braking power.
pressure and weight put on that wheel. So they need a bigger rotor to handle that.
Same with cars.
Really?
Yeah.
So, in other words, I'm the only dumb shit who didn't know this.
Yeah, I thought BMCs ran 160s front and back.
No, it looks... Now that I look at it, the back one looks a little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I got some time on Sunday. A Saturday on the gravel bike, which actually felt really good. It was a great ride getting out there. Super big wind. But it was nice to get out there, and I'm wondering if that's where my allergies kicked in, like all the wind just blowing shit up my nose. I look like Al Pacino and Scarface. I've just had so much stuff going up my nose. I've decided also I need a new saddle for the gravel bike as soon as humanly possible, because the stock saddle that came with that bike is just like riding on the skinny end of a baseball bat. It's just not working.
I might like it.
You might.
Yeah.
You might.
Yeah.
It's not working. And so hopefully Bike Fit Sam is going to get me dialed into another one of those super short-nosed ones that I'm hoping works out. Anybody got any races on the horizon? Paul, you got anything coming up?
Just same old. I'm hoping that we get clearance for total opening by our governor.
Yeah.
After the 30th, and then I think Vance Creek doesn't have a limit. I think some of those races have been sold out. Like I know Independence Valley is filled up, and there's a waiting list. So
No shit. All because of the heats. Because
there's only
they were gonna send
30.
them off
Yeah,
the heat.
there's 30 people per whatever.
Oh,
so,
man.
yeah, and so hopefully that opens up, and then Vance Creek.
When is that one now?
It's in July 11th, I think.
Oh, shit. We can't do that one. Jackson, we signed up for... Are we going to call it a race?
I think that's a really tough one.
Because it has the F word in it.
What?
It has the F word in it.
It does have the Fondo word in it. However,
I know it.
I think we have to decide upon that because I don't know yet.
Well, first of all, it's the Ellensburg Gravel Fondo. I guess it is a gravel Fondo because it's very similar to like a shortened version of the Belgian Waffle that we're going to do. It's 90 miles, 7,000 feet of climbing. I can't recall the amount of gravel it has. Do you know, Jay? Did you remember off the top of your head?
I looked today. It was 32 miles of the 90 miles are gravel.
So it's timed, right?
It is timed.
And there's other people.
Yeah.
Is it mass start?
They're starting in waves again.
It's a
starting
race.
in waves of 25.
It's a race.
Okay.
You've got groups of people.
Even though it has the Fondo word.
Yeah.
Really?
It's timed. You're not going to race against time. You're just going to go, do. Hey,
Well,
look there's some berries. Let's pick those.
There
Is that
might
what
be
you're going to
fucking
do?
cookie stops. I don't know. Are there fruit stops? I think there are 8 stops.
I'm sure
aren't
there
Jay?
is.
Yeah. 1. Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's one halfway.
Gonna have to put a bar bag on.
That's thank God somebody said it.
I'm not signing up for that one.
So, Jackson. And we're thanks to Terry Prime who told me about this one, and it was actually a really good idea because it's like shit. This is a great kind of a warm up event for this type of thing that we're getting ready for. So
What day is that?
It Father's Day Saturday. So
The 19th, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Why, you want to go?
No.
Come on, man.
No.
Everybody's doing it.
No.
Strap on that bar bag.
That's why I can't do it.
Put a fanny pack on, and
If I can have
maybe
arrow
a
bars,
camelback.
maybe.
Arrow bar. Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to see how that one goes. Jackson, what do you think? Should we take this as a race effort or just a tempo effort to make sure we can handle the distance?
I think we should ride hard for 90 miles, and whether that puts us in a hot position to be in the top whatever, then that's what I'm thinking. Especially, I'm also treating this as like a very good training experience as well. So maybe we'll just ride hard. We'll figure it out.
Spirited. Okay.
No, smash it.
Yeah.
He's on the right page. You're the one that seems a little intrepidatious.
Really?
Yeah. Are
I sound
we
nervous?
going hard?
Well,
Your voice cracked hard.
that's because I'm fucking dying at the mic. This would be like, God, you could
follow
play this in
your
my
son's
funeral.
lead. Just,
Really? Just stick
Yeah.
on his wheel and
just go. Smash it.
Really?
Then you know at 90 miles what you're going to feel like. At 100 and whatever plus.
110.
Yeah.
Yes, he's giving me the lead's a dangerous thing because I get a little over ambitious and attempt to go really hard at that point. So
Okay. Okay.
I've ridden with your dad enough that if he's behind you, if you hear, aye, he's done.
That's it. Yeah, I make a loud kind of a Cajun holla when I get dropped. Aye! What is the sound I make? I'm looking forward to it. Though. I think it's going to be going to be fun, and it'll be a good trial, even though it does have the F word in it. So we can still race it.
Mm-hmm.
It still has the dignity of a race.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, should we cut to the news headlines? We should probably cut to the news headlines. News headlines brought to you by our friends at Scratch Labs. Check out all the summertime offerings, including all the new grape flavor. All the new grape flavor? Really nicely typed there, Pat. At scratchlabs.com, in addition to the fuel hydration recipes and a little Rice Krispie treats that Paul has in his hand that he's going to get to try out there. Bing! That was cashing some checks right there. You can only find from scratch. Scratchlabs.com. SKRATCH labs.com. So, you guys, it's simply because I never mentioned his name, probably. Having twice finished second in 7 previous appearances at the Criterium du Dauphiné, Richie Porte managed to add the week-long stage race to his palmarès after defending his lead in Leggett on Sunday. The Australian Racing Dauphiné, for the first time since returning to Ineos Grenadiers after 5 years at BMC and Trek, fended off a series of attacks from his GC rivals in the final Ks of Stage 8, eventually sealing the Maillot Jaune with an untouched 17-second advantage over Jackson's pick, I think, Alexei Lysenko. Did you pick him? No. Jackson?
No, we didn't.
You just picked
No.
all the Astana guys.
No, didn't you pick? You picked Garrett Thomas, right?
I did,
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
all of us except you,
Who did I pick?
Richie Porte.
Did I really?
Mhm.
No fucking way.
Yep.
Did I?
It's broken, my friend. You said, heck
What?
with it. I'm going to pick Richie Porte.
I did?
I think so. We'll have to go to
Let's
the
go
tape.
to the tapes. Somebody chime in online and let me know if I really did pick Richie
I
Porte.
think you
Holy
did.
shit.
Yeah.
So you're saying the magic is...
Yeah, because everybody picked it, and you're like, hell with it. I'm going to pick Richie Porte. And I said, you and I remember saying this. It's okay because
there's no
ninth
stage 9.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I picked the
Yeah.
winner of the
Curse
race.
is over.
And there were no stakes. We
You know
didn't
who
have anything
crashed,
on the
too?
head.
Did you see who crashed?
Garrett.
Garrett.
Mr. Payment
Yeah.
Magnet.
He finds the floor all the time.
Holy shit. Were you guys surprised? I guess I'm really fucking surprised that Richie's riding so well. No?
No? Remember,
No,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you.
Okay. I'm not surprised either. I think he's finding his form since coming back to Ineos.
Do you think it's the team program? Do you think it's just that better of a combination of the squad, of the fellow riders, of the race direction? I mean, does that... I mean, I know the answer to this, but do you think it truly makes that big of a difference? Paul?
Probably, I would think so. When he went to BMC and then he, then went to, what is it, Trek? Was it? Yeah, Trek.
Yep.
both those teams I don't think really fit him very well. I mean, he seemed to perform under that Sky now Ineos thing. It's what he got third in the Tour last year, so
yeah, that was
the podium. So it isn't a surprise to me. It was a surprise he got past the ninth stage, but outside of that, I thought, well, he might do all right. So, yeah,
he's at the point where he's stating that he was super appreciative of Garrett's work, and he looks forward to working for him in the Tour. Do we take that as legit?
Yeah.
So in other words, I shouldn't pick Richie for the Tour.
I don't know. I think part of me wonders if Ineos is going to go in with dual leadership like De Koenig did on the Giro.
Really, I think they're going to put all their baskets into Thomas. I don't, but Richie's a good. Oops, Garrett crashed. Shocker.
Yeah, I think Richie's going to just sit back. He's not going to do like anything till the mountains.
Yeah.
And who knows if Garrett's going to hit the pavement, in the time being. He's, that way he'll be sitting pretty.
Yeah.
And I think Taylor Gegenhardt is going too. And he seems to be doing quite well.
He was up there. He was up there. Continuing with the Dauphiné, Froome says he won't win the Tour. Did you guys read that? Yeah, where's my what button? Where's my what button? There it is. I don't know where to put my finger on Chris Froome. Number one, the guy went through one of the worst crashes I've probably seen in a long time that somebody could actually recover from. Number two, I root for the guy because you always root for a comeback. Multitude of us talked during these bike races, and I made a comment saying, you think somebody looks back and realizes they're on the Chris Froome cam, that they go, oh fuck, I'm at the back. I'm next to Chris Froome. I must be at the back of the race, so I got to head up to the front. And that was a mean joke, probably. But you know what? Fuck. I wasn't like saying I wanted his family dead or anything like that, for fuck's sake. But the diva responded with, "That's it. Chris is done. His career's over." Does anybody have any speculation on in terms of where that's going? Jay?
I don't know if he's ever going to be back to the place he was, or if he is, it'll take a little while because the injuries that he sustained were pretty serious. So it's really almost too early to even tell whether he's going to be back because he is recovering so intensely. But I don't think he's going to be winning 3 Grand Tours in 1 year or anything like that. I think it's going to take quite a monumental effort to see those type of things happen again.
Guys, how long ago was the crash? I'm drawing a blank.
2019, I think. Yeah. He won the Giro, and maybe it might have been 18, because he won the Giro, and then in the Dauphiné when he was out on the training ride is when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So before the 2019 tour.
But Garrett won it in 2018.
Yeah.
So it's 2019.
And that was Bernal.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can see I'm in a phlegm-induced haze. I'm not really thinking.
It's been 2 years. Remember John Galloway, when we had a little chat with him, said, "Don't be the guy can." This is like a year ago or something, and he had good sources saying the dude can barely walk. And you listen to Wiggins. And he said, if anybody can do it, it's him. Yeah. Because he's driven, and his wife's behind him. He's got every resource possible. I mean, he really wants to make it, but he's 36. And look what's coming up the pike, these 21, 22-year-olds.
These kids with no respect.
None. Yep.
Shit, okay. Hey, can we talk about the coverage from NBC over this race? I would like to know, before I go on my high horse pedestal, I would like to hear your guys' honest opinions of what you think the pros, positives, and negatives of the NBC Sports Gold, which is what it still is, coverage of this event. yeah, Jackson, jump into this. I mean, I want you guys to bait the hook for me. Is basically what I'm saying.
I find that any other platform at this point that's not GCN Plus is kind of just a lot to deal with. And I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of the commentators that are on NBC Gold most of the time. So I think that's kind of another thing that I have. I watched for most of the stages. I'll be honest. I had a tough time watching them, so I watched a lot of highlights through GCN Plus.
Really?
So yeah, so that's a really good part of other alternatives.
When you said you had a tough time watching them, was it because you had a tough time logging in, a tough time because you didn't like the coverage, a tough time? What was the tough time? What's that?
Just time wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul, you're
it was quite a change of pace from listening to GCN.
Sure.
Just the commentary and I like Bob Broll, and I think he's good. I think both announcers, what's his name?
Steve Schlanger.
And I like them both, but it's maybe the pentameter of how they speak, and everything is.
God,
just
that was pentameter. Holy shit, that was nice.
It's just like this is kind of. It almost made it boring, And this morning, I was watching. Was it? It was Flow Bikes. That's a different story.
It was Flow Bikes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, it was. I think Bob is a little more bridled because of the network has a format. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They have guidelines for him. So I think he has to kind of soften the Bob Key thing. I could be wrong. Maybe he's mellowed with age, but that was part of his fun for me when he spoke. He never knew where he was coming from.
Yeah.
And it's like, he'd tell these stories and it'd just be crack up. But now it seems so formulated. It's not. Yeah, it's a real letdown after GCN Plus.
First of all, I don't know Steve Schlanger, and so I'm not going to bust his balls too much. But he doesn't really. He sounds like he's a classically trained sports event announcer. I don't know about his cycling history, and again, you guys can yell at me online all you want for not knowing that Rotor's a different size than Fred or who Lael Wilcox is, or the fact that now I don't know who Steve Schlanger's background is, but seems like a good enough dude, but. He and Bob don't really seem to connect on that level you're talking about, where you can dive into these stories and make a 3 to 4 hour coverage, even though NBC was only giving us maximum of 2 hours, where we get that banter, get those stories, get those experiences that I think having an ex-pro as a commentator is such a valuable resource having that. So I'm not, I don't think those two are clicking on the same level. Paul Sherwin and Bob would click really well together because they had those stories. So that's my nice part of it. My rage about NBC was the fact that, number one, if I get up in a normal hour, I'm not up at 4 a.m. like Paul, so I get up and I want to click onto the live coverage. And many times if the live coverage is close to over, it wouldn't let me log in. And if you do get in, you can't necessarily rewind, I don't think, which GCN does no problem. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the race concludes at, let's say, 8 o'clock local time, here 8 a.m. local time. Sunday for the final stage, it was 11 o'clock, and I was still trying to find the replay. It didn't happen. I had to watch the 4-minute recap of the stage on GCN. You guys are NB-fucking-C. You're not a tiny little network. You're fucking NBC. I'm yelling at you guys right now. Get your shit together. If we're paying this money for this fucking service, you guys can keep up with somebody the small size of GCN. This is absolute idiocy. And I was so pissed off at NBC this weekend. And now we're going to have to go to Peacock or something like that, right? We're all going to have to switch our Jackson's already shaking.
Is he gagging?
Yes. I thought
Try
he was going to puke. And he's not looking at me, my nose dripping in the camera. But I was absolutely furious with it. that here I am paying for this subscription service. Yes, this is a first world male white boy problem, but I am Karening right now. I am basically wanting to see somebody's manager because it was absolutely uncalled for. That I can go on to GCN, I can log into their live feed, I can hit rewind with a click, whatever, and watch whatever I want whenever I want. I can catch the highlights, I can catch the lowlights, I can do all these options, and they're just entering the game. So NBC, come on. And it's half the price, right?
I can't remember because I have that continue pay, but it's going to change here. I don't know if I'll even.
I remember it was like $50-$60 for the year, wasn't it?
For GCN?
No, for NBC.
Yeah, NBC. I think it probably was. Yeah,
they're like
$60. Yeah, 64 or something. Yeah. I can't remember.
The cycling pass.
Yeah.
And so for the tour, we're fucked though. It's going to be the NBC, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, here's speaking of what you were talking about, and kind of what I was saying about the rhythm. I think it's geared because the NBC is gearing it for the United States.
Sure. No. And that's why I wasn't trying to be too hard on this. They got the
little circle on the guy and the little dotted line, and they have the trading card picture of him and stuff like that. And it's tantalizing. But if this pass is only for cycling, you're not going to get the average Joe.
Yeah.
So we don't really need, if you're going to spend all your resources on that and not something where, like, goofballs like us like to rewind.
Yeah.
And I had that situation with Flowbike this morning. I went to the bathroom during the Tour de Suisse, and I couldn't push it back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why can't I go back? I don't understand. And I thought it was something with my TV or the app. I don't know.
No.
And it just drives me insane.
Yeah.
And I have it on Apple TV, and everybody knows sometimes I take my iPad to the bathroom.
Sure. Which is completely
and I can't
normal.
They shut me down if I watch both of those, even though I pay $100 and whatever bucks for.
They shut you. They wouldn't let you watch.
Yeah, I can't watch.
Yes.
You can't have two windows open. You pay that much. GCN, I can have my phone going. I can have. And there's times where I've had 2 races on GCN.
Jax is going like,
I know.
Yeah.
I got one on the TV, and the second rated one is, and they're just, I think, so worried about it. The other thing about flow bikes, now that I'm in a flow bike, it's the freaking ads. I'm paying for ads now.
What the fuck? I saw that
and
today.
It's always crucial moments.
Yeah.
And they'll have, like, in the TT, somebody's finishing on the very first stage, and they broke to an ad, and I'm like, and it was like,
and it doesn't pause the coverage.
Nope.
It's
and just all of a sudden and that was a good time with so and so, and it's like, God, don't like it. And you pay $100 and some dollars.
And we're going to switch to this. We're going to switch to Unbound Gravel here shortly. Flow Bikes did an entire coverage element of Unbound Gravel. I brought up the home screen tonight. On Sunday. Brought up the home screen, and what is the first fucking thing they show me on the home screen?
The winner.
The winner of the Women's 100 race talking about the experience. And that fucking headline said, and I apologize, I don't have her name down here because I just have the 200 distance winners on my notes, but it was like, Gail Anderson on what it was like winning the 100-mile Unbound Gravel. And I'm like, that's your homepage?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, come on, you guys. I mean, really? Do they not have anybody taking a step back going, maybe we should quit fucking doing this? Maybe hey, a boss, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'm sorry. I could just go on this for weeks. It really pissed me off. And thank you, GCN, for finally getting it. And as you say, Paul, this is coverage. We're not catering something to somebody who's being entertained during halftime of the NCAA basketball tournament. Oh, there's bike racing on during the halftime. No, it's not that. We are paying for bike racing. Mm-hmm. Bob Roll is talking to bike racing fans, if I'm not mistaken. Let Bob go. Mm-hmm. Let him off the fucking leash, man. Let him do it. Let him get so in depth, because the average person's paying for that fee, and the average person is a bike race junkie. So let us watch it. Sorry, did I go on too long on that? How are we? Yeah, we're 33 minutes into the show. I just found it as absolute bullshit. Sorry, Jay, did I cut you off, or did you have anything to add?
No, yeah. I think the only thing I've got with Flow Bikes is today I downloaded the app to my. Remember how I said GCN as an app on Samsung Smart TVs?
Sure.
Well, so does Flow Bikes, but you get the Flow Bikes app, and all it is it goes, okay, now you can cast from your phone to the app. It's like, why don't I just AirPlay my phone? Like, why do you have an app on the TV if I can just do it from my phone? It kind of felt like they put their developers like to do something that was really like a waste of time.
They're just,
like,
it's like
This is
providing a
strange.
logo.
That's strange because they have on Apple, they have an app, and that's how I get mine. It's
Sure,
through the
me
app.
too.
But
Yeah.
why wouldn't they have the other app, the
that's
non-Apple?
what I assume too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you try and fast forward, it doesn't really fast forward at all. It just like goes up like 2 seconds.
That's it.
I'm probably not gonna watch it through that if it's like a long stage.
No, come to think of it, now we're talking about fast forward.
Pat's getting pissed.
I actually could rewind on Flow Bikes. I couldn't rewind on the live on NBC because at Flow Bikes I went back because I had a couple of phone calls and stuff this morning while I was writing my paperwork, and so I could go back like 8 o'clock. The broadcast went like 8:15, 8 whatever.
Okay.
And my time, and so I could go back. But it was NBC watching it live. You can't go back. That's the other thing. So it was NBC on the last stage.
Are we asking too much?
Well, I mean, if you got the new guy in the game that has all this, and my only complaint about GCN Plus, and it's not really a complaint because of the new guys on the block, is I don't know about you guys, but uploading that amp once you turn it on, it takes forever.
Yeah.
And then
They have some oopsies.
Yeah. And that's a given, and that's probably why it's so inexpensive. But the things that function for enthusiasts like us, like replay, and the list of races and the commentary, and it hooked up with Eurosport, they're stars. I mean, they're way ahead of everybody else. They got diamonds in their legs.
If somebody else is a subscriber to NBC and you follow other sports, I'd love to know if, let's say, if you're watching a basketball game, if you could pause the coverage and rewind that coverage, or hockey, if you can rewind that coverage. It'd be interesting to know that if they actually have that opportunity on other sports and not cycling.
You can't on soccer.
You cannot?
No.
Okay.
The other thing NBC does is they have so much controlling rights to that no one can share
Yeah.
any of their footage, even if it's GCN doing like a segment of like Garrett Thomas's crash. They can only do a fixed picture. They can't use any of the video. That type of thing. I think they may because they're a Eurosport attached, but like you remember Cosmo Catalano started at the beginning of this year how the race was won, and I used that as one of them.
Yeah.
He's been shut down because he doesn't have the right to use the footage. So
For fuck's sake.
I know.
God, can't we all just
And NBC here out now, you got me all fired up. My blood pressure's
I'm
going.
pissed off too.
But here's NBC that locks everybody down, and I can go back and watch Tour of Flanders from all the years, everything else. But since they own the rights to ASO, I can only use NBC, and I can't go back like 2016 or 15. It's hard to find. Well, I think they've released it now. I don't know what it's like a 3-year period.
What, you
can't
gotta buy
go back.
VHS
They don't
fucking
even have it
copy
on
or
their
something?
app.
Really?
Yeah, they don't even have it on the app. So even if you go to NBC Gold and I want to watch last year's Paris-Roubaix,
Gone.
it's gone. Yeah. It maybe last year's is there because that was in October, but I can't go to 2019.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, so they don't care about us.
They
just want our dollar.
And they're getting it, and that's the problem. I don't know. Oh man, I don't know. It's so.
I'm gonna have a drink here.
Yeah, okay. The Tour de Suisse kicked off, and we didn't even get to talk about that. And but by the way, what a weird way to kick off. It was with a time trial like that. It wasn't a prologue. It was just a flat out time trial, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the time trial at all because
I love them.
Really? Yeah, it wasn't some for me. But Was I the only one surprised to see Mathieu van der Poel there? Mainly because I didn't do my homework before the race started. I thought he was in full mountain bike mode for the rest of the year.
I kind of thought that too a little bit until the tour came. But seeing him there, I guess, was kind of a good to see two of the three dynamic triple back racing. So
yeah,
you'd have to wonder if Wout would have been there too.
Yeah,
but he had appendicitis. So
is that what's going on? Okay,
yeah.
okay. What a finish today was with that too.
It was good racing.
Do you think there's any love lost between Mathieu and Julian Alaphilippe? Do you think they're just like, you fucker?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Really?
I'm sure. There's.
Oh yeah.
It just seems like there's. I mean, watching Alaphilippe attack again and again and again today made me think this guy doesn't want him around. He wants this guy gone before he gets to a finish. He's going
to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he did.
And which he did, and also marked the return of Tom Dumoulin. According to reports, his head is back in the game. He's focused on potential spot on the Olympics. 16th place in the opening TT, which old Tom Dumoulin would have thought of that as not a great result, but what for not racing for quite a while, come back and immediately hop in and hit a 16th is not necessarily something to cry about.
Mm-hmm.
I heard he said I heard somewhere that he had started training like 1 month ago.
Wow.
Shit.
Like he hopped into training 1 month ago with the team, and now he's back hitting 16th.
Yeah.
Like, if it only takes him 1 month to be like that, I wonder what the Olympic triathlon. Whoa.
Hey.
I'll look like
sinner.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's interesting if he's going to start building up. Is he going to be on the tour team?
Yeah.
You've got Wout and Dumoulin is like the big motors at the bottom part of the hill. They can control anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Wout proved it last year.
But do you think the higher ups at Jumbo-Visma are kind of thinking, we got a lot of money in this. Where are our results this year?
I don't know. I think they're putting all their chips in one basket, and it's
full Tour de France.
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
That's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're looking at Roglic and going, you gotta win it for us, because it's like Paul said. I think it's kind of all on the table for that one race.
Hopefully, they got the helmet thing figured out. I still can't get that image out of my mind.
That's why Roglic is gone. They're testing helmets. He's not at altitude camp. Well, how come you're not racing? Just trying to get a helmet that fits.
Won't slide back on my forehead. Jesus, you show a movie on my forehead. And so moving on to the next story, which actually leads directly into our topic for the day. For some reason, the biggest story of the week is this little race called the Unbound Gravel. The Unbound Gravel? How fucking old am I? Unbound Gravel. Held over the weekend with races extending up to 350 miles in the hills and the heat of Kansas. In many ways, and I might be wrong on this, but I think this event is the unofficial World Championships of Gravel, and it never seems to disappoint. The main event, the 200-mile distance, is the one we're going to primarily focus on here because that's kind of the main...
The origin.
Yeah, exactly. And first off, the women's race, in which third-place finisher Emily Newsom referred to as comparable with childbirth.
Wow.
Yeah, she went online and said that. So, guys, now you know. If you really want to have an idea what it was like, you're thinking, it can't be that bad. It's 200 miles of extreme heat and gravel and just hell. So, basically, we should all just shut the fuck up and hold their hand and get their ice chips. I think that's where we should go. But race won by cinch rider Lauren de Crescenzo. Sorry, Lauren. Fucked up your name. Amity Rockwell second. Emily Newsom third of many other riders. And 12 hours for that is actually cruising right along. Quite a bit of mention a few times in the coverage of this event and social media were a couple things. Number one, the winner's use of aero bars. And number two, the winner's coach, which Tom Danielson, ex-pro rider, admitted admitted doper. He admit he had some times with that and things like that, and went through some issues, and I think he was actually cleared of his second charge. And I remember talking to Tom about that very thing on this show. So let's dive into this, I guess, right now. We're going to tackle not only Unbound Gravel, but I think we want to tackle some of the big things that are happening in the sport of gravel. And I'm going to get to the point that I just cringed about the fact that I called it the sport of gravel. I got a lot of
discipline
there. The discipline, exactly. So, gentlemen, do we want to address the aero bar topic right now? Just jump right into the deepest water of gravel cycling. Jackson's rubbing his hands together. Talk to me, Goose. Tell me what you're thinking about this.
I think they're really interesting. I have watched so much about Unbound over the weekend. I watched all of the many of the racers' interviews through, I think, Pure Gravel is what the platform was, and they were not calling them aero bars; they were calling them comfort bars. Apparently,
oh, for fuck's sake!
But after 150 miles, you're gonna want that little rest, and I've heard a lot of people say it's a big advantage, which I'm surprised about. However, through the men's part, this was the first time that it was won without aero bars.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. I think they have their place, but I am seeing some races not allow them. For instance, BWR, the one we're going to, Dad, doesn't allow aero bars in the races. So it's a heated topic. My opinion on it, I don't know if I would run them, but also 200 miles, your shoulders are going to hurt a lot, so it's an interesting topic.
Paul, I've got a lot of topics. We're gonna spend some time talking about gravel, where it was, where it is, and where it's headed. And I know aero bars is one of the big topics.
Well, for me, if the organizers don't have a problem with it, then they have the right to do it. I don't have any problem with that, but I don't race gravel. So my curiosity for those who have a problem with aero bars, and I'm going to ask to you, why do you have a problem with it? Because they look stupid, or you don't think that's... Because in road racing, mass starts, it makes sense. If you ever ride with anybody who has aero bars in the pace line, yikes.
That is my exact reason.
But they're not...
A gravel race is a mass start.
It is a mass start, but it doesn't stay mass for very long.
Not to spoil ahead, but Ian Boswell and Lauren Tendam were together the whole race until the very end.
But you can, with a couple of people. But if you have 30 people and some guys in the middle of the pack is in aero bars, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think it belongs in mass start like road racing, and I think it's a good rule for road racing. But this gravel is a new thing. I've never seen a road race. The closest one is Milan San Remo. That's going to get close to that mileage, and they don't use aero bars. But this is, for me, if the Belgian waffle ride says no aero bars, then that's the way it should be. Now we're going to get to. I'm sure we're going to get to the topic of
governance.
UCI.
Governance.
That's when it's really going to get.
Yeah.
But for me, if I'm thinking is an option, because there's times where I'm solo riding 80 miles by myself, I will do puppy paws for that particular reason, for comfort. If
Spinacci's were legal tomorrow, would you ride with them, Paul?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Really?
No.
I had a pair. I
know.
They're fucking somewhere around here. I don't know where they are, but they're around here.
I would do puppy paws if it was legal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. Let me think about this one. Okay. Now, I don't want anybody jumping down my throat here on this one, because the first thing I saw after the women's race was a lot of people commenting on the fact that the winner was coached by Tom Danielson, who is, he got caught. He got hit the one time. And a lot of people saying that these people have no place in the sport. If you've been caught for this, you have no place in the sport. I saw a lot of banter through Twitter, through various popular names within the sport, some who support guys like Tom, yet don't support guys like Lance. Is there a place for confessed dopers in the sport, even if it's not on a participatory scale? Guys like Tom who are coaching the squad, I have my personal opinions on it. I'd like your guys' thoughts before I start just spewing this and turn this thing into my own. You noticed what I did with the TV coverage, and I have a lot that I could go for, but what is the place in here? Is Tom okay to be a coach?
I guess, yeah, because I didn't know about it until right now, to be honest with you. And I focused more on the winner of it than Tom himself. And I think it's kind of a bummer that it turned into it turned from congratulations to she was coached by this person.
Which is bullshit. It shouldn't take away from her event.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was headed with it, and I think it's no, you're good. I think that I think he's got a place. I mean, he's a coach. It's not like he's filling her veins full of EPO, and if he is, then that's a whole other topic. But he didn't ride the event, so
yeah. Paul?
I think I'm getting mellow with age at first. All those people with that were doing drugs, which, from the 90s into the 2000s,
sure,
everybody was pretty much. It was easier to name people that weren't than those who were. So, I think there's got to be some kind of redemption with Tom Danielson. Had he been a drug user, you have like Ricardo,
yeah.
It was just, that guy has no business in bike when you just constantly are trying to find a way to cheat the system.
Yeah.
Ferrari, no.
Danilo
DeLuca out. These guys that just like come back, yeah, I'm clean, and then they're getting popped all the time.
Sure.
That's no good. And that you hear so many people in that time period, and Danielson was in that time period where you sacrifice your life for cycling, and you've got a team captain that says, here's a bag.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to go to the tour. I mean, as a 20-year-old, I probably would say, well, screw it. If I get caught, that's it. But this is my chance,
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to point, the shameful finger at him because I never had that.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate, but that they brought that up. And that's the only probably reason why they brought it up is because of his past. That Tom Danielson was the coach. So
I have a connection with Tom through this show, through social media. He and I are, I follow him. He's a follower of the show. I don't know if he's listening or ever listens anymore. But I will say this: my biggest problem with Voldemort is that Voldemort is an asshole. My biggest problem might not be the doping. Voldemort doped and was a destroyer of personal lives and careers. That's why I don't like
and made money
what he stands for.
off of ruining people's lives.
And so, it's does the crime fit the time fit the crime? I think Tom did his crime. I don't think he's. Yeah, anyway, you get into it. And I have some people who are probably going to tell me after this they're never going to listen to the fucking show again. I had people tell me when I had Tom on that they were not going to listen to the fucking show again. And I understand your thoughts on that, guys, but this is a personal opinion. And so I'm not saying Tom should get a rose petal pathway everywhere he goes in life, but I definitely don't think this rider should be penalized for doing a great ride and doing what she did in the race. I dropped the results of the men's race. That's how out of it I am. Let's go to the men, shall we? The men's race dominated by World Tour pros. Do you know where the topic might be headed? Of the top four, I do want to bring out the most important issue of the fact that 3 of the top 4 has been on this very podcast. Ian Boswell has been on twice, so I can almost say that 4 of the top 4 has been on the podcast because I'm shallow that way. I want to say a personal congratulations to a very good guy, Ian Boswell, for doing what he did, man. That was a fucking crushing ride. It was great to see Lauren Tendam, to see that 200-plus mile over that terrain come down to a sprint finish. It's pretty damn cool. Lawrence Tendam just seems like a great guy. Peter Stetina, Ted King, the one and only Ted King, coming back from how long ago did he break his collarbone, Jackson?
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago.
He broke his collarbone 3 weeks ago.
And he was riding over that terrain with no aero bars, I might add. Wow. So what I want to talk to you guys about in terms of gravel is this professional invasion. The invasion of these World Tour riders who are, would you agree maybe that being a gravel pro might be a bit more intriguing? Hey, I only have to do these certain races. I'm not getting paid as much, but my life is that much more simplistic. Ian Boswell has a desk job with Wahoo, and he's out there crushing gravel. So talk to me about, first of all, the good elements and the bad elements of these people coming into this genre. What did we say?
Discipline.
Discipline. Thank you. Discipline.
I think the good parts are that it shows that it's serious. You see the likes of Pete Stetina leave the World Tour for this lifestyle, or Colin Strickland deny a World Tour offer for this lifestyle as well.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows that
Colin was
this
in
is
fifth,
a series.
by the way. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Colin was 5th place in.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and it shows you how this can be a legitimate lifestyle in the world of cycling. I think that's a really good part of it. I think, all of these people are really cool too. You don't really see very many like negative comments about a lot of these World Tour pros or high caliber athletes being mean. And then I think on the negative side of it, it can it could possibly roadyize it a little bit. It can make it more serious. It can kind of take away that cool factor, for lack of a better term, and kind of make it a little bit more serious than it needs to be.
Paul, initial thoughts on some of this?
Yeah, I saw this pattern happened before in the 80s and the early 90s with mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And on last Saturday when we made that long ride, Terry Prime, I always want to call Preem because that's how you spell Preem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Terry Prime and Luther was on the ride, and I was talking about the good old days of Watch Trust Classic. Oh, boys, let's right out there.
That's butt necks.
Yeah.
Hey, you boy.
Yeah, so... and they're like surprised that we had, what happened to it? And I said, mountain biking.
Yeah.
Road racing became an elitist type sport. And we got, more and more money. The more money got in there, the more it became more elitist. And then mountain biking came, and a lot of guys that didn't make teams started going, ex-road riders were going down and started racing mountain bikes.
Bob Roll being one of them.
Yep, Bob Roll. There was another guy who raced for Barracuda. It's just slipped in my mind. There's tons of them. Yeah. They were just starting to fall. And then all of a sudden because then it's the new thing in America, and that's what it usually happens. So it was all about that. And watching the Washington Trust Classic, where we would have in a Cat 3 field of 75 to 80 riders, go within 2 years down to like 15.
Yeah.
Everybody was up riding mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we're going to see. The money's there. Obviously, it's a new thing in America. This is the biggest race in America. There's no Tour of California.
Yeah.
There's no Tour of Utah, Colorado Classic. They're all gone. And this is where America just... Especially in our country, we have a tendency to gravitate to the newest, coolest thing until the next thing comes.
We use it until it's dead.
Yeah. And then what happens, we get these, it's out of control. Well, then we start throwing rules at it,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's not the same, and that's it goes down to the aero bars. It'll be interesting to see what happens pretty soon. You start throwing rules in it, and the fun factor goes away, and you got these guys who are, all those guys, all the way down to 5th place of Strickland. Those guys are superhuman. The average guy that got into it and was doing really well are like finishing way back. It's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
The fun's gone,
So let's and this is interesting. My wife was asking me before I came down. First of all, Pat, why are you sneezing so much? But about what to talk about, and she and I were still I think we were engaged or dating at the time when mountain biking was really, really in its height. And we spent a lot of time going to races, and we'd travel to World Cup finales from our house. We'd go and stay there over a week or something like that. Mountain biking, started out grassroots. It grew immensely fast in popularity. Established its own governing body. NORBA was the governing body of mountain bike racing. It established its own national championships. It established its own culture, which was this much more relaxed culture than what road cycling was. I remember vividly announcing a race at Schweitzer Mountain Resort, which was a NORBA series race, and actually sitting and having a beer with Roland Green, the current world champion, the guy who's there for the race, and he was having a beer and a slice of pizza the evening of the race. And I'm just going, I would never be able to have a beer with a current road champion. I just don't think they would be that accessible. It was a movement, not to be too overly over the top.
I agree.
But and then it was bought out right when it virtually exploded. Events were added. We added the 24 genre.
Yeah.
The enduro, fat bike, things like that. And as soon as, like you said, those larger governing bodies came into it, it became much more restricted, much more controlled. The popularity of it probably did some. I know there's some people out there who are going to say that, people come into the sport and ruin it. Once it gets cool and popular, it gets ruined. And it's almost, please don't take this mountain bikers as an insult, it's almost become a niche sport within itself. It's still this tiny little, not this tiny, but because, my God, some of the races I'll attend are huge, but it's not like what it was.
And the same with road riding back in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah. Are we seeing the end of gravel being cool? Are we seeing the beginning of the end? And if we are, is there a way to reverse it? Is there a way to keep it cool? Unbound gravel is unsupported. Should races stay unsupported where the riders have to actually fend for themselves? Should we keep the UCI and USA Cycling out of it? Should they keep adding distances like they did this year with the XL? We've got big event promoters like Lifetime who bought Unbound Gravel. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Big money, stuff like that. So these are just some things I'm throwing out there. What do you guys think? Is this especially Jackson? Because I know you're kind of tapped into this vein here with gravel and the elements of it, and you being a younger enthusiast are much more tapped into the coolness of it. What do you think? Are we reaching, in your opinion, a pinnacle, or is it going to get better, or where do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I think that we aren't losing the coolness of it. I think that, if anything, it's staying around, and because we've got these kind of like, there's like this, it's tough to say. It's like this conglomerate of riders that are all like at the top of it, like the ones we were just mentioning: Pete Stetina, Colin Strickland, Ted King, all these riders, Amity Rockwell on the women's side, a lot of these other riders, and I think that they have all this experience, that they have seen these movements happen, and I think that they can recognize when something like that has been happening. I've heard Pete Stetina on multiple interviews go on and talk about kind of like keeping that, like, the soul of gravel alive. And also Jeremiah Bishop, who's an ex-mountain biker, it was really adamant about those type of things. So I think that we're seeing the coolness stay around, but we're also seeing a lot of people get attracted to it, which is exciting. I think that with lifetime buying Unbound, I think it tells like us that this is a big deal, like that this is not just like a little fad, obviously, like we were saying, the money's there. So I think the coolness will stay around. I'm interested to see if USAC or UCI tries to get involved, though.
I love that they're called USAC. It just makes USAC. Never mind. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I think this is the beginning of what I've seen. If history has a tendency to repeat itself, and this is certainly one of those things. I don't think it's going to be like immediate where we're going to see a change from coolness to, what happened to Norba.
Sleeveless and arm
it's just going to, I mean, It was such a laid back atmosphere. We had that WIM series here. Washington, Idaho, Montana, and everybody got along. There was always a barbecue. People would camp up there, families and everything.
Sure.
Just kind of like what you see in the gravel now, But then things started expanding when people start seeing, hey, we can make this grow. And not that growth is a bad thing. Being a curmudgeon, you think that I would just say, no, just stay home. Let's just keep it the way it is.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I think that it will once, I'm looking at the manufacturers are trying to find that silver bullet now.
Oh boy! Yeah.
And now gravel bikes were fairly inexpensive. Now you're getting this is getting crazy again.
Yeah.
And that was the same with mountain bikes. You had a hardtail. Then front suspension had to happen. We had, suspension stems, and then we had forks, and then full suspension, and then it just started getting how much travel can you get?
Yeah.
And downhill where they're barely even pedaling.
Yeah.
It evolves. Things are going to evolve and they're going to change. And there will be something else that's going to take gravel's place. Who knows? It might go back to, cross, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe mountain bikes will get another huge resurgence again.
Paul, since I've got you, gravel isn't really a new format. Let's be honest.
No.
The original bike races were over dirt roads.
And you had to, there's no support.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Races have had gravel sections for hundreds of years. Jackson and I are doing an event in 2 weeks that, once again, Jackson, remind my phlegm-headed head of how many miles we're doing of gravel?
32.
32 miles of a 90-mile race. What makes a gravel race a gravel race? I would almost think that of 32 miles of a 90-mile race, that's, just under a third, or just over a third of the race. Is that a road race?
I would think it is. Same with Ronde van Palouse. It's usually about 1/3 of that is gravel. It's a road race. But in my mind, when somebody says a gravel race, I'm thinking outside of the stuff that I ride on. Yeah. Stuff where you need, like Unbound, you need a 40C plus tire, or else you're not gonna make it. You're gonna crash and hit your kneecap and split it right open.
Jackson and I
are. Oh wait, that's Quinn Simmons.
Did he split his knee open?
Yeah, he crashed and.
I knew he crashed.
He crashed and he had to withdraw.
Oh. Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know he did something bad to his knee.
Got stitches.
Oh, shit.
So, I think, when somebody mentions about gravel riding, and we're going to bring him up again, Terry Preem, we might have to start drinking to Terry Preem, I think.
Yeah. I love that you call him Terry Preem.
I know. I'm going to forever.
We're going to just call him that.
Terry Preem. So, because he's done the Rebecca's,
Idaho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And... he's like, you do so well in these races, why don't you do them? And I said, and then he's talking about, your bike can only handle like a 28. So I don't want anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
So to me, when somebody says a gravel race, I'm thinking something that a 28 can't use. A road bike is not a good option. You need something 30, 32 wide. Then you're talking, in my mind, that would be a gravel race. No matter whatever section.
You know what it comes down to, right? You know what it comes down to.
Disc brakes.
It's seriously brakes.
When you switch over to disc brakes. You could probably
ride a 32. Jackson, you can't do a 32 on that thing, but,
You do a 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, 28.
28. But that's a super aero cut bike.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, yeah, okay. Jackson, what separates the two? Are these events we're doing, is Belgian Waffle Ride in essence a road ride with gravel sections?
I think Paul kind of nailed it. I think it just depends on the severity of the gravel, I've watched all of the films that are out there about BWR, and I have found that this is not Grand Tour level type of gravel. This is like there's a river crossing, there's big rocks sticking out of the ground. To me, that isn't necessarily something that should belong in a road race. So I think that's what separates it. And I think Belgian Waffle, in all of its iterations, walks that line of like there is severity of gravel that is above what a road bike can handle. So I think that's what makes it a gravel race in my eyes.
Is Paris-Roubaix a road race?
Oh, yeah.
But those are not really roads that should be handled by a standard road bike. And remember the years when they had front forks.
Uh-huh. But they're gone. There's very few suspension in any of that because it wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And it's only 50 to 52 kilometers, depending on the year, of cobbles out of 250. That's where the suspension didn't really work out.
Yeah.
A person to ask, and maybe we should contact, is Brent Soderbergh, a man who does a lot of gravel race on the east side.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what he would have to say.
Because I think there's going to be a gigantic push of hybrid style of these races where we're going to be seeing these road gravel mixes. And are we going to, do you have to label it at all times? I like to label things. I like to know, is this a road race? Is this a crit? Is this a time trial? Is this a circuit race? Is this a gravel race? Is this a gravel fondo? Is a fondo a race? You've heard me this entire show trying to put things into categories. And I guess as the sport evolves, we're going to be seeing a lot more of the blending of those categories.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
I think so. I don't have a problem. If I can't do it on my road bike, I'm not going to enter the ride or race or fondo. I'm not going to do that. If I need a gravel specific bike, then I'm not. That's just not my type of riding. So I don't care if it's half. If I can do half gravel, or even 3/4 gravel on my road bike, I'd do it. If it was that type of gravel, but I'm not getting off to cross a river.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
Really? So it almost comes down to footwear for you.
Yeah, I don't want to get off the bike.
If you could stay in your road shoes, it's a road race.
That's a good way to put it.
We should just classify it as shoes.
Unless I'm picking myself off the ground from a crash.
Yeah.
That's the only
But you
time
can
my
hop
feet
right
should
back
down.
on and go.
Yeah.
But there are some gravel stretches where I've been on where it's like, fuck, I got to walk.
Yeah, nope. Don't want to do that.
Okay. That's a gravel race. Then.
I guess technically, if I have to go beyond a 28C and I have to walk at some point, that's a gravel race for me.
Treads and tires.
Yeah.
Okay. Jackson, thoughts on where gravel's going? I'm scared of the UCI pulling a full FIFA here thing and just seeing the dollar signs and fucking the sport up. I just think it's a matter of time.
I'm really interested because it's an American thing. Like, not only an American thing, but it's really heavily an American thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but I see a lot of the people within the sport going, I don't want this to kind of take that corporate, as you could say, type of path. And I feel like because it's so heavily rooted in America, I feel like there's a past of not wanting those type of things to go on, just in general. So I see there being a big fight, and I don't know very soon if that will happen. I think there'll be a little while till it gets those big organizations around it.
I also want to say this before I switch to the final topic of the show, is that there are also going to be people who have nothing to do with UCI, nothing to do with USAC. There are going to be people who come into the sport and fuck it up. The elitists. No, I'm talking about participants.
I see.
Triathlon was a very loose, relaxed sport when it started. It was just a bunch of crazy people saying, let's put all these things together and just hurt the fuck out of each other. Let's just make this absolutely insane. And people keep coming in and coming in and coming in. And then you've got lawyers and accountants who spend $300,000 on their equipment setup and they look like a dipshit because they don't even know how to put their chain back on their bike, who come in and ruin the sport. We're going to see that. We saw that in mountain biking. We saw people who were, yelling at your kids. I had to ask permission to take my kid on a mountain bike race because the promoters of the race were worried about elite cyclists wanting to pass us. Mm-hmm. I'm not making this shit up.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to happen in gravel. I'm the pessimist of the show. So I think that's probably
and I would agree because I've seen it before with mountain bikes.
And you can't control that.
No, you can't. The snowball has already started and it's getting bigger and bigger. You can see it.
Yeah.
And like we always use triathlons. We're like the first and then mountain bikes were the next. I agree 100%. It's when you start getting people into when you promote a race like the WIM series, everybody loved.
Yeah.
With the promoters are like, God, it's a lot of freaking work and I give up my weekends and somebody goes, I'll take over. And they have a new idea how it's going to do. There's going to be more money and stuff. People are like, oh, this is great. And then it goes totally south.
Yep.
So what I hope for gravel is that they learn from this and the local gravel stays cool. You don't have to do Unbound. You don't have to do all these other big ones.
Yeah.
Just do something in the area. Keep everything local and cool. And that's what happened with the WIM series. And I use that many times, obviously, because I just saw it just crumble to one of the coolest thing in the world. And even as I went and volunteered to help out because I thought, what a great community. But then all of a sudden, within 2 years, it was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I went back to volunteers like, this is not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Becomes a fucking color run.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Stay local. Keep it going.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a key. All right, you guys. Well, let's have some fun on the way out here. Let's play a game. I came up with this one because of all the stuff that we were talking about with gravel. We're going to play Packfiller Prognosticators, brought to you by our friends at Mojo Cyclery. Remember, everybody, all members get a 15% discount on everything but bikes and trainers. Mojo Cyclery right here in Spokane Valley, Washington. So we're going to predict the future. We're gonna make our own guesses on what the future holds. Okay, I have 10 questions, 10 things that you guys are gonna just sit and ponder and provide me with an absolute immediate response to. Okay, we're going to go 10 years into the future right now. I should have downloaded some sound effects. I really wanted to find some eerie music.
Like a Wayne's World.
Yeah, exactly. And all our listeners are going to know what to expect from the cycling world. All right, so here we go. 10 years into the future. Number 1, the most popular event in cycling will take place on blank. You can fill it in with whatever you want. The most popular event in cycling will take place on blank. You could say the moon. You could say the surface in which it takes place.
It's just a location you want.
Yeah. Take place on blank. Anybody want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
I think the biggest event in the world will take place as a marathon mountain bike event.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Paul?
I think it'll be taken on Antarctica.
What?
Yeah, on ice fat bikes with
Fat
big
bikes
spikes.
on ice.
Yeah.
This is 10 years. You're jumping 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm
guessing.
I was
something unusual.
going to say mixed surfaces. I think we're going to get to the point where we're jumping all over the place. People are switching bikes.
Oh, that's long down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, 10 years into the future. The next American Tour winner will or will not be in the history books. The next Tour winner will or will not be in the history books.
Will.
Yeah. Paul says we will have a Tour winner in the next 10 years.
Yep.
Jackson Bulger.
We will, and I think I have a name for it, too.
What?
Yeah?
You think it's Sepp Kuss or something like that? Or
Yo.
you do? Okay.
I do think it's going to be Sepp Kuss, yeah.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say we don't have a winner in the next 10 years because I'm a pessimistic asshole. 10 years into the future, the biggest computer advancement will be in the form of blank. This is for cycling. The biggest computer advancement. Where will we have a computer dialed into our bikes? We have fucking wireless brakes coming, people.
Electronic brakes.
Electronic brakes, yes.
Yeah.
But they might be wireless by the time we get
Yeah, could be.
Anybody?
Ooh, I think I have an idea. I think you will be able to somehow be able to like program your gears in your phone, like how like your gear ratio in your phone. I'm not sure how it'll happen, but I have a feeling that that's been thought about. Maybe.
Oh, I just had another one. I thought. Anyway, keep going, Paul.
I think they've been working on this for quite some time. There's some goofy glasses, but figuring out a way to shoot up on screen all your data in front of your face. Yeah.
Heads-up display.
Yeah.
That was what I was actually going to say.
Yeah.
But I won't say that now because you took that. Because I was going to say
and
that.
then you don't have to have all that crap on your bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the derailleur in 10 years will be gone, and it will be an internal hub that, like Jackson was saying, you can program your gears into it and just wirelessly send what you want the gear ratio to be. How cool would that be? 10 years in the field. I'll stop doing that. Bikes will be made out of blank in 10 years. Bikes will be made out of blank.
I think bikes will be made out of... Man, I'm stuck between two. I think they'll be made out of magnesium.
Oh.
Yeah, if they can keep them from catching on fire.
That'd be a cool flight.
Yeah.
Like a crit crash.
They do catch, yeah. That's the drawback on magnesium. I say...
And he's coming into turn 2.
He's on fire!
Oh my God! The humanity!
That's the Hindenburg all over again.
There's all burning. Lycra and chamois.
I say it'll be not so much the materials, but 3D bikes, 3D printing.
Oh, printed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
so
good.
that way you could get all the shapes. We're going to be looking at some pretty funky setups.
I was going to say plastic. So
Which pretty much carbon is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The worst trend in cycling fashion will be blank. What are we going to be looking like and wearing in 10 years? I'm going to go first. I think we're going to have a full fucking face visor. I think glasses are going to keep getting bigger until it covers our whole face.
Thanks to Oakley.
Yeah. We're going to put a fucking bubble on our heads. Yeah. That's what I think is going to be.
I think. Go ahead, Jackson.
Okay, I was going to say, I think people will start with the whole aero bar thing. I think people will start to wear like TT helmets in some of these longer.
Oh God, I hope not, but you're right. Oh no.
I think in 10 years in the future, I had it.
Bad trend.
Yeah, not a bad trend. It would be knee-high socks. They're going to lax on and then it'll go all the way to the knee.
They're going to,
Yeah, just the kneecap's going to be exposed. That's it. No one will understand why, but for some reason, it's more of a fashion statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny little cold kneecaps.
Fashion before function.
Well, for me, that'd help in terms of shaving. All right, true or false? In 10 years, the women will have a full 3-week Tour de France. Jackson.
True.
Paul. True. I'm going true because I want it to be. I'm stealing Paul's thunder here a little bit because the rest of the ones I give blanks, but this is our last true false. True false. Paul Main will be on disc brakes and will love them in 10 years. True or false?
True.
True. I say true also.
I know I will be on disc brakes until there's some really good improvement. and I'm talking about the stinking squealing like I heard in Tour of Swiss today. It was awful. There is so much weight, aerodynamics. It's
just horrible.
Yeah. I don't know if they can fix that because that's all harmonics and each wheel has different. Anyway, I could go off on that tangent. Unnecessary disc brakes front road, but there's no that. that thing is passed. Rim brakes are gone. They've made sure of that.
10 years in the future, Jackson Bulger will be blank. What will Jackson Bulger be? If this has to respond to cycling in 10 years, what will Jackson Bulger be?
I'll answer last on this one.
Oh, okay. Paul, you want to go with this one?
He'll be...
It'd be cruel and say like a beer belly, just potty mouth.
I was going to say his 9-year-old son's cycling coach or daughter, whatever comes first. I wish I could see your face.
Yeah, he's kind of uncomfortably laughing.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about it yet.
I'll just say still faster than his dad.
I will say winning the Tour de France.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, you're going to be the Tour winner. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. You guys can go double barrels on me. 10 years from now, Pat Bulger will be blank.
So how old are you now?
I am over 50.
Uh-huh.
In 10 years, Pat Bulger will be blank. And yes, you can make it funny and mean.
Man, that's a rough one.
I'm
think
going to say still battling his weight.
I think some sort of coach.
Oh, really?
I say he's still podcasting from his basement. Saying, I've been doing this since 1999.
Hey, little fuckers. I'm going to get paid this year.
And he'll be saying, I remember rim brakes.
Yeah. All right, last one. 10 years from now, Voldemort, a.k.a. the guy whose Tour de France wins were stripped from him. In 10 years, Voldemort will be blank. What will be up in Voldemort's life in 10 years? Paul's got it already.
Well, no, it's too mean. It's too, I was going to say 6 feet under, but... but
well,
no, I think he'll be reinstated, unfortunately, as
Tour
winners.
Really?
Yeah,
really, as the winners.
Yeah,
as Tour winner.
There's going to be unofficially or officially, everybody's going to have to recognize it. So
Sure, yeah. Jackson, where will Voldemort be 10 years?
I think he'll be doing the exact same thing he's doing right now. I think he's going to be podcasting and hoping he gets another ESPN documentary.
I bet he'll be on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he'll be on TV.
He won't be quiet until he's 6 feet under.
And I also bet, I'm going to put this out there right now, he'll be in politics.
Possibly.
He
used to hang around Clintons and the Bushes, and he knows the ropes.
As much as I hate to say that, he'll be in politics. So for all of you lovers of him, fuck, wrong podcast. There we go. We have just predicted the future, gentlemen. We have done it here. And so everybody hold us to our predictions. Speaking of predictions, we got to start getting around to thinking about Tour de France predictions. We only got a couple weeks until that comes around. I've received a lot of feedback from you guys out there in terms of the Giro stuff and had fun with the Giro things. We will again be doing the Tour one. You can do your fantasy ones. I know that a lot of people have been saying you guys should allow this and that and the other thing. And it's like, I think we kind of have a good structure of where we're going to take our Tour de France game. You can't switch riders.
Yeah, I can't. That's just part of like if it's like when you pick a tour team as a pro tour team, you don't get to say, "Oh, this guy crashed out. Can I bring in so and so?" So we're gonna play it that way. You're gonna have podiums, right? Points for podiums.
Yeah, I think we talked about restructuring the amounts of points and how deep they go, right?
Yeah,
yeah. So and people are gonna have to keep track of their own points here.
Yeah.
Although
who did their spreadsheet?
Tyler Steinle did.
Yeah,
which was awesome. And he already placed his order for a jersey, so he's going to be getting one of our cafe jerseys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. So, and I will put other stuff up on that one. And for those of you guys who are members of the Packfiller, Team Packfiller, yes, your stuff is out in the mail. It is on the way to you as I speak. There's a lot of packing materials that was in here this morning that I had to get rid of because we got everything out. It should be hopefully arriving at your doorstep now. If it does not, drop us an email. Be nice, though. Let us know, and we'll make sure you get it, and we'll get those things to you. Big thanks to our friends from Gooder. This was the swag box that went out with all kinds of fun Gooder stuff in it. We had our roadie socks went out in this batch, and a pretty fun little Packfiller koozie for your can of beverage that I thought was just in time for the Tour de France. Yes, they're cheesy, but they're awesome. So there we go. That brings us to the end of a allergy-induced Packfiller podcast. I apologize if my nose sounded stuffy. I got to figure this shit out. I got to figure what's causing it, because man, I can't be going out and doing these hard long rides if my head's about to roll off my shoulders. The fuck? I need a doctor. I really do need a doctor, because I don't have one. So that's a whole nother show. But yeah, so there we go. Jackson Bulger from Portland, Oregon. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you very much.
Paul Main from across the bar from me. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you, Pat.
Jack Broadhead, fuck off. No, I'm kidding. I love you, Jack. I love you, Jack. I love you, Jack. I'm kidding. We'll catch you guys next week. Thanks, everybody. Oh.